Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you Monday, February the 15th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Trading safe with Walmal. Just so you know, these videos are for educational purposes only, and your results may differ from mine and from Walmal's. Walmal, you been trading safe today?
I think so. In some senses, yes. In other senses, no. I mean, what I mean by that is I've been trading safe because I've been making sure I've been following my trading plan. I've been making sure I'm not risking more than I should risk on any one particular trade. I'm making sure that I stayed within my limits in terms of how many losses I'm willing to take for the day. So yeah, I'm playing safe that way. One of the ways I'm probably not playing as safe is that, today's a bank holiday, and I generally don't like trading on days that are bank holidays just because, the market does sometimes strange things during that time. And the main reason is because the banks aren't there participating, and they're forced to be contended with. And when they're not there, the market doesn't sometimes move as nicely, or when I say nicely, I don't mean that, it's going in your direction all the time. More of nicely means it matches what I expect the market to do. I expect this pair to go and move this way. And so when you take a big player off the table, sometimes, things don't move as in the intended way that you think that it's going to move.
But do you really think that there's nobody at the banks? Because I would think they'd have to be there. Otherwise, we're not going to give other countries the chance to ruin your account.
To railroad them? Yeah, I would agree that there's some people there, but it's still at the same time, what they're probably doing is just they're protecting their positions is what they're doing. They're not going to look to go and move money in or move money out, I think, on a large whole-scale motion. Rather, they're there to go and just protect their position so that it doesn't run against them in a particular way, and for that reason, other countries or other, institutions that would be there, they know that, so they're not going to go and try to pull off something crazy. And we kind of see that also. You look at today's daily range, at least from my broker. Here it is, 12 o'clock Eastern time, in the United States. So we've already completed the entire London session. We completed the entire Asian session, and we're more than halfway through the U.S. session, and we only have 64 pips for the day. We've had low pip days over the last week and a half or so, but still, that kind of shows you what can happen on a bank holiday.
Well, we've got 72 pips on my broker, but we're only at the 7th percentile for the daily range. So yeah, this is pretty bad.
And that's kind of what happens sometimes. So, I decided to go and trade today anyway, but I knew that walking in, I had my eyes open, and so what I would do is if I'd keep my stops maybe a little bit closer, and I kept my, I kept my wins a little bit closer. This type of thing where, hey, I'm up 4 or 5 pips, and normally I'd let it go and see if I can get a little bit more. Like, nah, I'm just not going to do that today. Today's not the day to do it. And if you look at today's move up, the reality is that most of that move up occurred during the Asian session. It didn't even occur during the London session. We had a definite move up during the London session, but most of it occurred earlier in the day.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean it pretty much spiked up from the open, hasn't gone back.
Right. Exactly. And, and part of it also is, with that kind of mindset, trading, this whole idea of trading safe, the market's not moving the way I'd like it to move. It's just not doing some things that, I would expect it to do. And I'm sitting there, I got into a trade early. I think you were on the phone with me at the time, and I got into a trade. And I was expecting it to do it based on, my method of trading. And, it went up, and I think I was up maybe a pip, and then turned around, and it came back down, and I was down a pip, and I was like, you know what? Let's just go and trade safe. Let's just go and get out of the trade. We'll take a small pip loss. It's not gonna go and break the bank, so to speak. Just get out and just wait for it. And the funny thing about it was I waited and I got a second opportunity to go in, and when I took that second opportunity to go in, I actually wound up making, I think, 3 pips or 4 pips on that trade. It's just, it's a waiting game, playing safe, and saying, yeah, I'm willing to go and take a pip loss here, and, hope that, there's another opportunity that comes down the road. And what do we know about the market? There's always buses pulling into the station. There's always opportunities out there. You just may have to go and wait for your bus to show up.
That's so true. So true. In fact, part of playing it safe is waiting for the best opportunity as opposed to just any old opportunity.
You're exactly right, because how many times do we sit there, we get into a trade, it turns against us, we get hit, our stop loss gets hit, we take a chunk of loss, then we get mad at the market, we don't wait for the next setup. I know I was right, I'm jumping in again, and the next thing you know, we jump in, and next thing you know, it slams you again. And it's like, dude, what are you doing?
Exactly.
Or the other, or the other thing is impulse move. It's like trying to catch that falling knife. I went long. I took a loss. It's coming down. Oh man, I got to get into this short. And the next thing you know, you have fear of missing out. You jump in, and guess what it does? That's the moment it decides to turn around and go back the other way. And it all happens because you didn't trade safe. You didn't wait for the opportunity. You didn't wait for your setup. And the next thing you know, you get smashed.
Exactly.
So we just have to be careful with that. And if we're careful with that, we should be okay. Right now, if you look at the at the Walmal lines, the Walmal lines are now at 10 and 20 on my charts anyway. We're a long ways away from that. And sort of like that'd be hard trade to take, especially when we go back and we look at the hourly candle, the hourly candles, we had 11, 14, 9, 18, they're all candles that are way, way below the averages of what you would expect, for the pound dollar. This time of day, you're expecting averages for the pound dollar to be somewhere around, 25 to 30 pips. We're seeing a third of what or a half, of what we would expect. Well, knowing that, and we see that on the charts, why would we take a Walmal trade? It just doesn't make any sense. You just say, you know what, today's not the day to go and do that. Let's play safe, hold on to our gunpowder, and wait for another day and wait for that, for it to make more sense to do that.
Yeah, and I'm just going to flip through the charts here. We're 5 pips off the monthly high at the moment on the pound. And when we look at the gap fill chart, there's still 1, 2, 3, 4 pairs that haven't filled the gap. But you can see we broke out of the weekly high today. We're up. In fact, we're up 50 pips over that high.
Right.
And we're still putting in that first day of the week, that range here, which is only 72 pips on my chart. So once again, not much when it comes to range. We're 273 pips above the yearly open and 214 above the monthly open. So it's definitely a green month so far, green year. No inside bar today, that's for sure. Range, once again, just 72 pips, only 2 pairs over 100. So I guess that goes hand in hand with today being a holiday here in the US of A. We never even touched the pivot. Got near it. The red rats, they feasted a couple times, but you can see the push has been up as it has been for the past, I don't know how many days has it been pushing up here. Well, 2 days. We did have a red day. It's like, seems like it's 2-1, 2, 2 greens are red, 2 greens are red, 2 greens. So if it follows that pattern, what should happen tomorrow?
Yeah. Yeah, and the one thing I wanted to point out with that monthly number that you just pointed out, that we're only, I think you said 4 or 5 pips off of it, something like that.
Right.
And one of the things to keep in mind is that was actually the high for today.
Exactly.
So that new monthly high got, and the thing is, the next time that it was, if you go and look at the charts of the monthly chart, you got to go back 35, 36 monthly candles. So you're talking, 3 years ago was the last time it was up in this rarefied air. So that's something to keep track of as well, because, does it want to stay up here and continue to try to get back to where that was 3 years ago? If it does, that we're talking another 100 pips up, and that'll bring us above that, the $1.40 mark, and well above the $1.40 mark. So that's something to keep an eye on. And, I think that probably, can't. I'm not a prediction. I'm not a prediction machine, but I think it's going to go and at least test that high mark before it makes a decision to come back down again. But at the same time, we've got all those pivots that you've talked about that are below us, and we got lots of reason why this needs to go and start to fall a little bit. I just think it's going to probably go up there and test that high before it does it.
Yeah, there's a pivot that was missed 725 trading days ago at 139.34.7. So that's on the daily. Then we take a look at the weekly. We can see the weekly pivot here. Let's call it 137.99. So price may come back down and test that right around the 1.38 number. Usually, if it gets to the round number, it'll come down a few pips just to wipe out some stops that are placed right below it and above it. So that's just something to be aware of. Once again, this weekly pivot, we haven't missed a weekly since last November. And we keep moving on in and out of the wick zone. Here you can see prices falling down a bit off. It's now 4 pips off the high. And we're back to the Walmal lines. And once again, not a good day for Walmal. And that's part of playing it safe, saying, hey, you know what? Based on what I know, this ain't a good day to be doing these types of trades.
Look for, and that's part of it. What you do is you get really good at a method. Maybe you come up with a second method, and you get really good at that. That way you have multiple tools. If you're a type of person that feels that, hey, I got to go and trade every single day.
Right.
In the beginning, what I would do is I'd trade my method, and if it wasn't going to be a good day, hey, I got a day off. I'm just going, time to go play golf or whatever your passion is. Go and do something else, and that's that whole idea of trading safe. And, it's that thing where we know that we have, usually we have 22 trading days in a month, and what I do is I base my projections on having to go and be in 10 trades a month, being profitable, and making those 10 pips for those 10 trades. So what I want in a month is I want basically 100 pips. And if I make 100 pips in a month, then I know I've taken care of the, so to speak, my nut. I've taken care of my living expenses. Anything above that, that's great. But because I have built that into my trading plan, that gives me the opportunity to say, I can take a day off today. I don't have to trade today. Today's not a do or die.
Exactly.
And that's again that whole idea of trading safe. I'm not any particular day during the month. I don't have to take a trade. I don't have that pressure of having to take a trade. I can sit there and watch the market. I've said this before. I like to go and sit there and watch the market, see how it's reacting, look to see what it's done in the past, whatever. See if there's been any holidays. See if there's any news that are coming out there. Hey, is this a day that I really want to be trading, or is this a day I want to go and say, you know what? Let's go and run from this and go do something else. Because there's a good chance that I can get hurt. So why should I get hurt?
Exactly. That's part of trading safe.
Right, and that trading safe comes down to it's a word that we don't like very much, but it's a word. It's discipline, and that's what it comes down to. And it's funny because all of the traders that I've met in my life that are profitable, they've all got one thing in common, and that's that they're disciplined. And part of discipline is saying, okay, today's a day to trade, today's not a day to trade, this is a trade I should take, or this is a trade I shouldn't take. Not just because your method has been satisfied, but because you've done all of the other things on your checklist. You've checked all the other boxes off, and because you've done that and you're disciplined about it, you're good to go. And part of discipline is that, okay, if I checked all those boxes off, I got to take the trade. Because if I don't take the trade, I can get myself in a little bit of trouble.
Exactly. And so, once again, traders, the fastest 15 minutes in trading is just about up. So when you're trading, trade safe. Just play it smart. Stick to your plan. Make sure your stop loss is in place. Because it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. And this is the Rumpled One, over and out.